Hello, welcome to learn2cook.com. I'm Chef Mark, and today we'll be learning how to cook a duck, in particular a duck breast. What I've done is taken my duck breasts that I got from the market. They can be bought frozen. They're in a pair, as you can see here, or you can get them fresh from a market. The duck breasts, totally boneless. I defrost them first if they're not fresh, under refrigeration for a day or so until they're completely defrosted. Then I cut open the package. I put them on a plate and I liberally salt both sides, both the lean side where the flesh is and the skin side. But on the skin side, I actually scored the skin side. You can see that I've scored it. In this way, I will score additionally. In this way, by scoring that and cutting the end, the fat end, it won't curl up as much because we're going to cook this in a skillet on the stove, then finish it off in the oven. So I scored that. You can see scoring means knife cuts along the length of the fat side. And then liberally salted, probably half a teaspoon, give or take both sides per duck breast, and put it between two plates and a heavy weight. I had some water in this pot. And at least 4 hours, many times if not overnight, the weight will press the duck breast flatter, and the salt tends to cure it somewhat and tenderize it, so that when I saute this, the duck breast isn't like a rubber duck. It'll be very tender, and that's the idea. So that salting process will tenderize it. Many times I'll do it overnight. The next day, lift off my pot of heavy water, pour the water off. You can put in between two sheet pans. You can put a number 10 can of tomatoes on the top or some bricks and flatten it out. So now I have my skillet. I preheated a Teflon or nonstick skillet. I have some olive oil. You can use coconut oil. I'm also going to make sure that I have dried off my duck breast. So what I did do was blot it dry because there was excess water. When you salt foods, that salt will remove moisture. So I blotted as much of that as I could, just a few more, so that the duck is dry. Now, with any preparation where you want to have the presentation side to serve your guests, make sure that goes down first. Because if you cook the lean side first, this will curl up. You want to make sure that you put the presentation side down first. I'm going to blot that just a little more. Many times it doesn't need too much oil either, because of the duck fat in the breast, but we want to make sure that we get a nice color. So swirl the pan. When you hear a sizzle, that means it's hot enough to put in. If there's no sizzle, don't put your product in a pan that doesn't sizzle. So we let that cook now for about four minutes. So I just turned these over, nice beautiful color. Huh? Look at that beautiful golden color. I'm going to put these in the oven to cook so that they're on about rare 120 degrees. All right, we're just taking the duck out of the skillet. It was in the oven. It registered 140 degrees Fahrenheit, so we'll let those rest for about 15 minutes. So remember, this was in the oven, so the handle is hot. So we have duck fat and olive oil in there, so I'm going to pour up some of that fat, but I want some of the fond, F-O-N-D, right? That's good. Hopefully it won't crack the ceramic there. All right, so most of that fat I want out of there. But what I do want to have is some of that, the lovely essence from the duck meat, the fond de cuisine, the base of cooking. So we want some of that. Some chefs will add a little fat to that. Some fresh butter, since that was the cooking oil, right? That's pleasant to eat. They'll add a little bit of that freshened butter to freshen up the flavor. And then we want to deglaze. We degrease, what we call deglaçage. We remove the grease. Now we're going to reduce, so we have a little wine. You have to set on fire. That's the French way. I got some raspberry wine. So I'll put that in there. So that's flaming off. I'm going to add some Grand Marnier. That's going to really set your house on fire, so be mindful. Just tip the pan, catches on fire. We have some sliced kumquats because it's game, and it's nice to have a little gamey flavor. And then I'm just going to finish off, it smells beautiful, with some authentic balsamic vinegar. Let that swirl off the fire, add my raspberries. Let that sit. Let's go over and carve up the duck. All right, now we're ready to serve up our beautifully pan-seared or roasted duck. I have a carving knife. Some nice thin slices. I'm slicing what we call the Japanese way, right to left. That way I can monitor the slices better and I can hold on to them. So let's line up our duck. It's quite beautiful. One more slice. Let's put a few more on there for our guests. So it has to sit for a while. It's set for about 15 minutes. You can see that nice pink color is very desirable. This is a mid-rare, as we would say, nice mid-rare duck. And it'll be very tender because we had it marinating in that salt overnight. It smells wonderful. Now we're ready to spoon up our nice homemade duck sauce. How do you like that? So place that over. Nice raspberries, gives it a beautiful color. Of course, raspberries seem to be have a great affinity with duck because they're sweet, cuts that gamey taste that one would see or get with a fowl, right? Especially a duck has more of that fowl flavor, F-O-W-L, than chicken do. So we'll just put that over. And there you have it, a beautifully sauteed duck breast with kumquats and raspberry reduction. Bon appetit.